Hi guys, this is Piers Ridyard, CEO of Radix, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the idea of DeFi and what it is what people are using as a term to basically describe what I would call trustless programmatic finance. This idea that you can have a set of computer programs that exist on top of a public ledger, running as a decentralized process or a partially decentralized process that allows you to interact with them without having to ask for someone's permission. So normally when I go and take a loan, let's say I take a loan for a house, I will go into a bank and I will sign the rights over to my house to the bank, to the company that is the bank. Big loan against my house that allows me to then slowly pay them back over a period of time. And that collateral is being held by a central party. What decentralized finance holds the promise of is this ability to create a contract of value against not a company, but against a computer program that operates in a way that is predictable. So, for example, with MakerDAO, I know that if I send my ETH into MakerDAO, I will get this thing out called a DAI, and this DAI will have a market traded value of approximately $1. And if I want to go and get my ETH back out of my collateralized deposition contract, I don't have to go to a manager and convince them that I'm going to pay them back, or that I have paid them back and that they should now give me back my collateral. It's completely automatic. If I take out a loan of $10,000 or 10,000 DAI against some Ethereum worth $20,000, if I come back and pay it back with interest directly into the contract, immediately out comes my Ethereum again. It's more difficult for me to get Ethereum at the moment than it is to get a loan from a bank. It's more difficult for me to interact with these things called smart contracts, and I need to have MetaMask, and I have to have all of these complicated extra bits and pieces which are alien to me as a non-crypto user. There started to be these ways in which you could use DAI for more than just having a stable value currency. It started to be a exchange currency or a settlement currency for other things. Uni Swap is another category of decentralized finance project. It doesn't require any trusted intermediary. It doesn't require an exchange, and it doesn't even require professional market makers, which normally categorize what's necessary to get liquidity on an exchange. It allows people to just provide assets in normally, one stable pair and one stable asset and one exchange asset, like let's say DAI and ETH, into the continuous function market maker of Uni Swap. And suddenly I have exchange that can be done at very, very high volume and very, very quickly, but also trustlessly. This idea of exchanging and borrowing and collateralization and reformation of one asset for another sort of sits at the heart of what is making decentralized finance special and interesting. It's more than just the idea of not having to trust a counterparty. It's the idea of suddenly you have this massive interoperability layer that you can move assets seamlessly between. So if you think about the concept of a centralized exchange, let's take the London Stock Exchange, and then let's take the Shanghai Stock Exchange. And if I wanted to go, right, on the London Stock Exchange, I have some shares of company X, and on the Shanghai Stock Exchange, I want some shares of company Y. Right now, today, if I wanted to go, right, to either Shanghai or London Stock Exchange, I would like company Y. I'm going to swap for company X. Can you do that for me? The answer would be no. I would have to go and sell company X, get the cash out from it. That would probably be a settlement time of 3 days. I would then have to transfer the money to a account that would allow me to deposit it in the Shanghai Stock Exchange or with a broker that works with the Shanghai Stock Exchange, and then be able to trade on that exchange. Like these current financial systems, whilst they're very liquid and very well established, they also don't really have any concept of programmability or cross-functionality. Like, these are islands that exist in the world that are completely unconnected, and the only way of connecting them is this really crappy system that we call the international banking system. The American banking system uses checks as a way of sending money more frequently than wires, because sending a piece of paper in the post for some reason is more cost effective than sending a bank transfer from one bank in one state to another bank in another state, which genuinely boggles my mind. In decentralized finance, what you have is this public ledger that is your interoperability layer for money and for assets. And you have these programs that are able to take assets of one type and turn them into something else. So all of these functions are not just more trustless. Also, money moves so much quicker. And this is where these concepts of liquidity mining and liquidity as a true empowerer of the ecosystem has really come to bear, is this idea that now I can not only stitch together all these applications, but any assets that come into the ecosystem are now able to also be part of enabling the ecosystem to do more and more transactions, more and more volume, more and more value. And a key part of this is this concept of atomic composability. Atomic composability is this idea that if A happens and B happens, great. But if A doesn't happen, I don't want B to happen. And if B doesn't happen, I don't want A to happen. The example that's always given about this is the train ticket and hotel example, where I want to book a train ticket to Amsterdam from London, but I only want to book it if I can also book a hotel. And if my train ticket succeeds but my hotel fails, I don't want to actually end up with the train ticket. And if my hotel succeeds but my train fails, I don't want to end up with the hotel. Now, the same thing happens on DeFi all of the time. Flash loans is a great example of this ability to be able to borrow wrapped BTC, because I can see that there's this opportunity on Uni Swap to sell some wrapped BTC for some Ethereum, and then I can take that Ethereum and I can go and lend it back to Aave to be able to get out some other collateral to be able to pay back my wrapped BTC loan in the first place. But I don't want to end up with the wrapped BTC if the opportunity to purchase from Uniswap at that particular rate disappears, because then what I'll end up with is a wrapped BTC loan, but not actually have succeeded in completing the circle in my arbitrage trade. Now, while that sounds really esoteric and really niche, it's exactly trades like that that are happening within a single block, right? Not waiting for block confirmations, not waiting for like multiple blocks to continue, but within a single block operation where I'm calling multiple applications at the same time. That is one of the things that is driving the billions in liquidity that is occurring between all of these different applications, because fundamentally it's the arbitrage that's keeping the price at the right level, that's making sure that if there is, a price disparity between what's happening on Binance and what's happening on Uni Swap, that someone can come and take advantage of that and bring those prices into the right level, which means that consumers and users don't miss out, don't lose out on these kind of arbitrage, these kind of fundamental ways in which you can move assets and value between these applications that exist on top of these public ledgers. Is the binding, is the magic that makes DeFi so liquid and means that it's part of the reason it means it's growing so quickly. Radix, we realized, fundamentally had to be delivered to make sure that we could live up to the promise of being the first layer one specifically designed to service DeFi. And if you want to understand more about our consensus allows you to stitch together applications across multiple shards, then please do watch my other video on Radix consensus and what is often referred to as the trilemma.